Is it true that sometimes it's important to give players time to settle in, but other times you just have to throw in the towel? Here's a list of players who have never been able to live up to expectations. Welcome back to Go to Football. Before we continue, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to stay up to date. Keeping up with the pace of the NFL is not easy, and sometimes it takes a little patience to allow players to find their footing and express their full potential. But everything has a limit. You can't wait for a player indefinitely. Let's start with the third overall pick in the 2018 draft, Sam Darnold. Before entering the NFL, Darnold was considered one of the best prospects out there, thanks to his great college career with the USC Trojans. His performances in NCAA raised expectations on this guy, who was then chosen by the New York Jets. He was immediately named as the starting quarterback, and at his first professional game, the emotion was high, and maybe it betrayed him. Darnold's first throw was intercepted and converted into a touchdown. Well, not a great start. Despite this, his rookie year in NFL was overall positive, not among the best possible debuts, but there were signs of improvement. The following 2 seasons didn't see any improvements. Darnold, due to injuries and inability, such as when he caught mononucleosis in his second year, missed many games, and when he was available, he rarely left a mark. His second season with the Jets ended with 19 touchdowns and 13 interceptions suffered. While in the 13 games he played as a starter, he had a record of 7-6, while the third saw him with 9 touchdowns and 11 interceptions in 12 appearances. Let's say we expected more from the third overall pick in the draft, right? In 2021, he was traded to the Panthers. But even here, the change of air did not help his performances. His first season was quite disappointing with 12 appearances, 11 of which as a starter, collecting 9 touchdowns and suffering 13 interceptions. These incredible performances earned him the conquest of the bench. In fact, the following year he will become the backup quarterback. Despite some overall positive performances, the Panthers gave up on him. So Darnold signed a 1-year contract with the 49ers team. Probably even here, his role will be supporting the starters. Here he won't become the savior or the superstar of the team, because in these years he has shown that he is not that kind of player. There certainly was and still is the potential to become one, but Darnold has never exploded. And who knows if he ever will. Let's talk now about a linebacker who, between injuries and poor performances, was unable to express what could have been his full potential, Devin Bush. In college, Bush played for the Michigan Wolverines, showing a very interesting profile. So much so that the Steelers called him in the first round as the 10th overall pick in the 2019 draft. Bush, due to his characteristics, seemed to fit perfectly into the team's game. But for some reason, it wasn't like that. His rookie year wasn't all that bad, but objectively, he didn't show extraordinary talent. His first year in the league ended with just over 100 tackles, a sack, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble, nothing extremely exciting. In his second year, however, the guy suffered a serious knee injury, and this forced him to miss the entire season. In the end, in Pittsburgh, Bush won't shine, and the team won't have any problems letting the guy go in free agency. The Seahawks will offer him a contract. Bush will reach an agreement with them for 1 year at $3.5 million. For the Seahawks, it's not a bad move. Bush certainly won't have all the space he found with the Steelers, but a role as a backup supporting the starters like Jordan Brooks and Uchenna Nwosu. It's unlikely that Bush will be able to unlock all his potential, especially since if he couldn't do it with a head coach like Mike Tomlin, it will be tough for him to do it for the Seahawks. You know who was expected to have a skyrocketing career? The first overall pick in the draft, baby. But when expectations are sky high, it's dang hard to meet them, and disappointment is always lurking around the corner. Yep, we're talking about Baker Mayfield. When he hit the NFL, he carried a whole lot of expectations with him. He won the Heisman Trophy in 2017 and got picked as the first overall pick in the 2018 draft by the Browns. But as we said before, the higher the expectations, the easier it is for them to turn out to be just illusions. Mayfield's career in Cleveland was pretty darn disappointing. Even though he tried his best to carry the team and do what he could to do well, his time in Ohio wasn't so unforgettable. The Browns didn't find the player they were hoping for in him, and with Deshaun Watson's arrival, the 2018 first overall draft pick asked to be traded. So in 2022, Mayfield started a new adventure with the Panthers. You might be wondering whether a fresh start did him any good. Well, no. What emerged from his season in Carolina was that Mayfield's definitely a good player, but he doesn't have the grit to take on the starting role. Don't get us wrong. The talent is definitely there, but he's never been able to fully express his potential and become the player he could have been. Today, Mayfield is getting ready to start a new chapter in his career with the Buccaneers, who are without the heavy inheritance of Brady. But it feels like his days as a starting quarterback ended when the Browns threw in the towel. Let's talk about Jalen Reagor now. He was selected by the Eagles with the 21st overall pick in the first round of the 2020 draft, and he's a wide receiver, the highest position for a player from TCU since former All-American Josh Doctson was drafted in 2016. You can imagine there was a lot of confidence in this guy in Philly. Despite all the confidence, things didn't go so great, and Jalen never managed to really take off. His performances were quite disappointing. His time with the Eagles ended with 64 receptions for 695 yards and 3 touchdowns. Definitely not the best. Reagor's selection at number 21 leaves an even more bitter taste in the mouth when you consider that at number 24, the Vikings selected Justin Jefferson, who's currently one of the best wide receivers in the league. Anyway, after some disappointing seasons, our boy Reagor gets traded. And who's his new destination? That's right, the Vikings. When he landed in Minnesota, Jalen declared that he didn't want to change his number 5 because it symbolized his personal and spiritual growth. He was hinting that this was going to be the turning point in his career. But it didn't happen. His year with the Vikings ended with just 8 receptions for 104 yards and 1 receiving touchdown. Definitely not ideal, right? O.J. Howard was selected 10th overall by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 2017 draft. But the tight end never really lived up to his potential. Despite playing with quarterbacks like Jameis Winston and Tom Brady, who could have helped him find his way in the league, Howard never quite reached his full potential. Ironically, his best season was his rookie year. After that, his performances gradually got worse. With the Buccaneers, Howard never caught more than 34 passes in a season and only surpassed 500 receiving yards once. After his time in Tampa, he signed with the Houston Texans and then with the Las Vegas Raiders. While it's unlikely that Howard will become a starting standout player on a team at this point, he could be a good backup. After all, if playing with Brady didn't improve Howard's game, who could? Is it true that sometimes giving up on one's ambitions is difficult, and anyone who lands in the league always hopes to be a star? But sometimes you also have to face reality and be realistic. In your opinion, which player has most disappointed expectations? And who among them do you think will never be able to fully blossom despite their great potential? Let us know in the comments. If you liked the video, leave a like and support Go to Football, the channel made by fans for fans. Activate the notification bell and stay updated. Thanks for following us. See you next time.